What's the latest?
Everybody hold on 1 second.
So the latest is that the investigation now is involving everybody, from federal authorities to state authorities, really trying to uncover both what happened, what led up to this, but then also everything about the aftermath, about the response. And so this is going to be a thorough investigation. It's going to be a long one, but we have to make sure that we get the answers that we're seeking in this.
Governor, are those divers impacted for the state?
It's a huge economic impact for the country. And that's why I think when we've seen how the entire country has rallied around Maryland and rallied around Baltimore, it's because they understand that the Port of Baltimore is not just impacting Maryland. If you look at this, this port is responsible for over 51 million tons of foreign cargo. That's the largest in the country. That for everybody who was buying cars, for everybody who was buying farm equipment, we're the largest port in the country that does that. So this is not just impacting Maryland. This is impacting that farmer in Kentucky. It's impacting that auto dealer in Michigan. And so it is imperative that we get this bridge rebuilt. It's imperative that we get the Port of Baltimore back up and going. And it's not just about how are we supporting Maryland. This is about how we're supporting the American economy.
We had something similar in Pennsylvania. Is it 6 workers, Governor, or are there more?
Oh, sorry.
Are there 6 workers or are there more?
There's six workers that have been unaccounted for.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Governor, when will you be speaking to families?
Six road workers who were missing after a bridge collapsed in Baltimore Harbor are now presumed dead. Authorities announced the news on Tuesday as they pulled dive teams out of search and rescue operations since conditions in the dark waters had become more risky. State Police Colonel Roland Butler.
At this point, as the Admiral said, we're going away from the search and rescue portion to a recovery operation. The changing conditions out there have made it dangerous for the first responders, the divers in the water. We will still have surface ships out overnight. At 0600 hours tomorrow, we're hoping to put divers in the water and begin a more detailed search to do our very best to recover those 6 missing people. We're doing our very best in some very difficult times and difficult conditions, which is why we're making that transition now. The last thing we want to do is put divers in the water with changing currents, low temperatures, very poor visibility, and so much metal and other unknown objects in the water. All it takes is one object to strike an individual, and all of a sudden we have a first responder trying to recover another first responder. I think at 0600 we'll find ourselves in a better position to understand the dynamics of what we're dealing with and to address the issue in a much safer manner.
8 workers were filling potholes on the Francis Scott Key Bridge around 1:30 a.m. local time when a massive cargo ship crippled by a power loss rammed into the structure. The workers and vehicles on the bridge plunged into the water as a trestled section of the 1.6-mile bridge crumpled into the Patapsco River. 2 were pulled to safety, with one of them hospitalized. But some 18 hours after the accident, officials said there was no hope of finding the missing 6 alive in the icy water. Butler said authorities hope to return divers to the water after sunrise on Wednesday to recover the workers' remains. He also did not rule out the chance that there may have been other vehicles on the bridge that fell in the water. Officials credited the crew of the Singapore-flagged container ship named Dali for averting a potentially much worse disaster. Maryland Governor Wes Moore said they reported the power failure before the impact, allowing officials to cut traffic off the bridge. Moore said the Dali crew saved lives and called them heroes. The ship's manager said all 22 members were accounted for and uninjured. Authorities say the bridge was up to code and suspect no foul play. But the accident has forced the closure of one of the busiest ports on the U.S. eastern seaboard.
I've directed my team to move heaven and earth to reopen the port.
President Joe Biden has pledged full federal support in response to the emergency.